Gotta pull this song up right quick. Okay.
Well, everybody's heard about the bird. Bird, bird, bird. The bird's the word. Well, a bird, bird, bird.
There, can you hear it? First, that's right, guys. Episode 1, season 1, episode 1. Now I can't get this thing to shut off. Season 1, episode 1. We have ran into a lot of difficulties. I'm telling you, trying to get this first podcast out. Luckily, Daniel not only named the podcast Talking Circles, which welcomed Daniel, but he also introduced us to 357 Studios and World of Dirt to help us out. So we've got them. And we've actually jumped a couple light years already and going in straight into the Zoom. So we're going to have this. We'll have this audio up on podcast, but I'll also have the link below in the podcast and on the social media to show you guys where to view this live Zoom meeting. Daniel, coming to you from the McQuarrie shop, I guess, in Benton. I see some cars in the background. How you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Yeah, I was just trying to get stuff ready to go for DuCoin.
You're running DuCoin. Okay, and what classes are you running?
Well, I've got my kid racing a junior sprint. He's back there. He's about ready. I got a few things to do when I set it on the ground. And then I'm running both of Troy Leonard's cars. So I'm running Outlaw non-wing and A-class wing in that. And then I'm going to run my car, the white one, and Outlaw wing. And then I'm actually going to Johnny Murdoch's shop tomorrow to pick up a D2 car. So I'll run that class too, I guess.
Quadruple duty. I don't think that's ever been done, but there's a lot of things that's never been done. You did it. A lot of things never been done. You've done them. Yeah. And so, that's why we're excited to have you on here.
Yeah, DuQuoin's a small track, and it's not somewhere that I really feel like I get fatigued. So if I have the opportunity to run other races, then I'm gonna do it.
4 classes, and you know what? I'm going to venture to say that if they would lift the age restriction, you would probably be running a restrictor car.
Yeah, well, maybe. I don't know. Maybe. Why not?
The more laps. I mean, we're going for records here this year in 2021.
Yeah, right.
So let's talk a little bit about 2021. You've got, first off, you went to the Chili Bowl. Actually, you can actually call it, you went to Tulsa Shootout. I mean, that's close enough to 2021. And then you left that, took a week off, and right back to Tulsa. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so we went to Shootout. I didn't do very good. It was a promise I'd made to my kid to go to the Shootout if he had a pretty decent year. And I thought that, it's just an experience that you'll never forget. I went when I was a kid, and I mean, the first time I walked in the building, I'll never forget that. So I kind of wanted to do the same thing for him. And then I had promised Aiden Purdue in this car to run him at the Chili Bowl. And I wanted to keep that promise, but I still wanted to race. So I talked Bill Ecker into loaning me a car, and we took a couple cars to Chili Bowl and had a pretty successful week, I'd say.
So, yeah, I did pretty good. I mean, you come up, finally got T-shirts now. I broke it out. This is actually the first time it's been on. Then it's going to be signed and hung up, not worn again. But you went to the Chili Bowl. You took your mechanic, Matt, and the McQuarrie Motorsports whole team. You brought a chef along with you, I understand.
Yeah, well, I don't know about a chef. He's a better mechanic. Michael McCurry, he did a little pizza cooking while we were there. I'd say I would stick with gear changing and truck driving for Michael rather than chef.
So. Okay, yeah. Well, I've seen that if you like your pizza crispy, and that's definitely was crispy. So
yeah, well done.
Kudos to him for going there and cooking for you guys at 4:00 in the morning. I know you guys were probably hungry when you came in. But you know what? Let's pause that. Let's go all the way to the beginning. Let's start where you started at. Where'd you start at in your whole career of where you've come to where you're at now?
Yeah, so we've had this shop long enough. I've got like a little bit of memorabilia in this joint. So that the yellow sideboard, that was one of my first go-karts I raced. That was actually from 96 to 99-ish. I raced go-karts, met a lot of cool people racing go-karts. Got an opportunity to start racing micros. After that, a local welding shop wanted to build a micro. and we lived right close to the track at Wayne City where they have the Leffler race every year. That's kind of put that track on the map. You know, that Leffler race is a big deal. So I
It's
raced
a fun race to go to for sure. Fun race.
Yeah, it is fun. So I raced 2-stroke micros for a few years after that, and then I did 600s after that. Kind of ended up in a midget. And that's where I've stuck.
So let's go back to the go-kart days. So your dad got you involved. What was his racing background? Did he come from the dirt side or?
Yeah, well, my dad had a salvage yard, so we helped a lot of local stock car guys out, street stocks and modifieds. That was back when modifieds still run like GM front ends. So I was around a lot of racing people. My dad had some race cars, but nothing that was ever serious or that we worked on a real serious platform, I don't guess. But he took me to the races every weekend, and I was hooked. And he wasn't going to get it out of my blood, I don't think, after I got started.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. At a young age, which you're quite a bit younger than I, but you can remember some of. We'll circle back to some more of your beginning stuff, but you can remember the dirt tracks in the area. What was some of the dirt tracks that you used to go to as a kid, and some of the guys you used to watch there?
Yeah, Hopstock was by far my favorite. I mean, I loved the World Outlaws when they come to Hopstock, which they always ran modifieds with them, so we were always associated with some people with modifieds. Jeff Hefner was the local modified guy that we'd go help, and so his girlfriends or wives at the time, and then his mom would always take care of me at the track when I was really little, and my dad would be in the pits with him. But then we always go to Mount Vernon to the racetrack. We watch Rodney Melvin. I remember Rodney Melvin when I was a teenager being dominant, and Jimmy Burwell. They were late model guys. There wasn't a lot of sprint car races that come through Mount Vernon. But when we went sprint car racing, I loved watching the World Outlaws. That was my favorite thing to do.
Absolutely. Go back to K&L. You talked about the Melvins. Remember they used to have the double trouble. Remember that the twin cars.
Yeah. Oh yeah. With Rodney and Bobby. Yeah.
Yeah. And then of course Doug McCammon was there. He was always my favorite to go and watch. It always seems like that was after the Melvins had kind of moved up a little bit, and you had the Barwell McCammon deal. So one thing that I can tell you about that I remember about going to the K&L raceways and stuff was, and you know, we've talked about this in the past, maybe it's just the class, but man, the fights and the rivalries that would go on at those tracks, you know, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, Mount Vernon, I always told everybody I didn't have enough friends that I wasn't big enough to race the stock car, because those guys were all crazy. They always really fought. You know, the open wheel guys, they may argue, but they never really fight. Well, unless you got Mark Chisholm in your pit area.
I was getting ready to say, you had Mark. If you had met Mark back then, maybe you wouldn't even be an open wheel right now.
Yeah, I'd probably be a late model racer.
Yeah. So, but you know, you did run a late model back in the day.
Yeah, I run a steel block late model twice in Mount Vernon. I crashed it and lost my ride.
Your ride.
Yeah, I was 16. So.
So okay, so we've left go-karts and we've went to micros, but you said a 2-stroke.
Yeah, so we run 125 2-stroke micros. That was a cool class when I was a kid. They had the clutches welded up solid in them, so they push start them, and then you bump shift them from there. And like long skinny tracks, you'd shift every lap. You know, anywhere where you couldn't just stay in one gear and keep your momentum up, you'd downshift in the corners and upshift down the straightaways. And I think that's a neat class. I'd still own one if they still had them around here. Well, I guess East Coast, they still have 270s, but nothing like that around here anymore.
So, so that's really not anything to do with, you know, I know that they would try to get like the outlaw carts to come around here there for a little bit, and maybe didn't make a go like they thought they would.
Yeah, I'm too fat and out of shape for them outlaw carts. Them guys are up on the wheel, and them things look rough riding as hell.
Yeah, they do. So you went from the 270s and you jumped all the way to the 600. Tell us about the transitions that you had coming from go-karts into the micros. Was that the stepping stone that you kind of needed?
Yeah, I don't feel like we did anything like wildly young, you know. I wasn't like a 10-year-old in an outlaw 600, but you still have rookie curves. I mean, I can remember dozens of times was some old driver come down and be like, you ain't driving worth a shit. You're just a kid. You got to learn. You got to quit running into people. You got to do this. And, you know, I mean, I respected all those guys, you know, and so I usually took it to heart. There was a few times I'm like, man, he's just a washed up old prick. He needs to leave me alone. But you get older and you look back at it, you're like, you know, they're all life lessons. I mean, that's just what makes you the race car driver you are, you know, as you get older.
Who was your biggest competitions back then? Who was the biggest battles that you would, I mean, every time you went to the track, you had to be like, oh gosh, this guy's here, load the car up, we're going home.
Yeah, I had told you before we raced go-karts, we raced at Bellride when I was a kid, and Nate Richter, I haven't seen him in a long time, but man, me and him were always neck and neck. Seemed like for about 2 years of me learning how to drive, and I mean, we were just kids, but I knew that he was going to be there every week, and we swapped first and second probably 3 dozen times, I would say. So I mean, it was always the pep talk on the way to the races when I was a kid. You know, Nate Richter's going to be there, so you know, whenever you get that start, you got to beat Nate to the damn corner. You know, every Friday, that was the big pep talk on the way to the track. And then as I got older, you know, me and Derek King, we had a bunch of 2007. We had a bunch of first and seconds. He beat me more than I beat him, that's for sure. But he was always tough. I like racing against him. Them people make you better, you know.
Absolutely. And you know, one thing about Derek, you know, I think he retired too. I think you guys both retired about the same time. Only thing is you didn't stay in retirement.
Yeah. I told my wife last year, I said, I'm done racing. I'm over it. And I think I raced 60 races last year. So
that's a pretty good little retirement.
I don't know how people quit, but I did see on his Snapchat, Derek King's Snapchat the other day, he was working on his fishing stuff, and he had all of his reels all taken apart in a million pieces. I showed my wife, I said, once you're ate up with something, you just can't get that whole thing out of your. I mean, he's going to do whatever he does 110%. It doesn't matter if it's a coloring contest or a power eye race, you know.
Absolutely, and I know he's got a couple little kids coming up. I know one of them just got a 4-wheeler, so I look to see them coming up and continuing to carry on. You know what legacy the Kings had.
Yeah, I hope so.
So what? Let's go back to, you know, what age were you when you finally got into like the 600 side of things?
So I was right around 15 probably was when I started running the 600s hard. And then I did that till I was in my early 20s before I got the chance to race a midget.
And did you run the Power Eye stuff in the micros?
Yeah, so the first year they had it, we ran all of it. And that was the year I won the championship, which the only reason I won it's because I went to all the races more or less.
Okay.
But 2006, everything with me and my dad always seemed like it worked in waves because we'd run hard in 2005 and then we were broke in 2006 and we raced hard in 2007, you know. But 2007 was the last year that me and my dad actually raced together. After that, People's National Bank picked me up, and until I guess 2 years ago when I bought that CS9, that was the first time I had owned a car since 2007. So I've been driving for other people ever since then.
Yeah, we'll get into that a little bit here in a second. So you went to the years in the 600s, which, you know, that's actually pretty. I guess you would say older to be in a micro right now compared to, you know, you got a lot of kids that are way younger than that's getting the experience behind a 600.
Yep. Yeah, it really just boiled down to money, you know, with our situation. We got that 2-stroke stuff and it was paid for. So, you know, we just we stuck with that until we could afford to do what was next, you know.
So then you jumped in. When did you make the jump to midgets, and how did that come about?
Well, at the end of 2007, in 2006 I won the Mara Micro championship, and what Mara was, that was Power Eye before Power Eye. That was the local midget series in this area, and they did some micro races, and I won that championship. So that got me 2 races in a midget at the end of 2007, and that was for Stephanie Mintz. That Mintz family's been huge for midget racing for a long time. Her mom loved midget racing, and she loves midget racing. She still promotes a race every year, the Mintz Memorial, and just really great people. So I run their car at Belleville and Granite City at the end of the year. I made the show at Belleville with 55 cars. I'll never forget. That was my first midget race. Something I'll never forget, you know. And I was up till 8th or 9th and turned the thing over. I got in a pile of cars and turned it over. And, you know, she kind of said she didn't really know where we stood for the next day. Well, she called me the next morning and she said, "How you feel?" I said, "I'm a little sore, but I'm all right." She said, "Well, if you want to race, I got the parts for you to fix a car." So I beat feet to Granite City and we put the car together and I made the show again at Granite City. And I think I ran 13th, something like that. But I got more notoriety for running, you know, mid-pack in that midget than I had all the micro races I won. So come winter time, People's National Bank had been sponsored me with the micro and they offered to build a micro team. They wanted to own the team. And I said, "Well, that's fine, but I want to go midget racing." You know, I was 22 or 3 then, and I was like, man, I gotta, if I'm gonna be a race car driver, you know, I'm already getting old. So I was pretty stuck on trying to race a midget, and they ended up calling back and saying that was fine. They just built a midget team. So looking back on that, maybe it was a mistake, maybe it was a good thing, I don't know. But they built a midget team, and in the whole year of 2008, I raced for them, and that was a free ride. I just hopped in the truck and got a percentage.
So coming into 2007, 2008, you've got your midget and you're jumping out with the power out. Who was some of the heavy hitters then that you would go see at the track every week?
Yeah, so pretty much, I mean, back then Power Eye was a lot different than it is now. Power Eye was more of like a working man's deal, and all of the big race teams, like a professional race team like Keith Coons or Clausen Marshall, they would race USAC. Well, now it's just one blended deal. It's just midget racing. It's not really, it's not 2 different sanctions. So really back then, Brad Loyette and Brett Anderson, those were the main guys that won, most of the races. Those were the guys you knew you had to beat. Brad Kuhn, if he would slide in and race somebody's car, he would always be tough.
So when did you make the jump, I guess, from you ran for the People's National Banks, and then when did you go anywhere else before the McQuarries there, or did you kind of just jump in with them?
Oh yeah, so 2009.
Or talk to us a little bit about the McQuarries and their motorsports that they offer you.
Yeah, well, so 2009, I lost the deal with People's National Bank, and I went to race for AJ Felker, and then after him, I raced for the People in Wisconsin, Bill Ecker, and RBB Racing. I did that for a couple years, and I just got to a point where I was driving 6 hours one way to race every Sunday, and I'm passing Macon and Belleville and all the little tracks around here that I love, and I'm like, man, I got to be able to figure this out somehow. So I took out a work note against my business, and I sent out a group message to about 5 people that I knew that, had sponsored race cars and were kind of interested in what I was doing. And I said, I found this car on the internet for sale, and I like to try to buy it. I've got half the money. I just need the other half. And Bill pretty much just said, yeah, come get a check and we'll make a plan. So that was in 2012, I think, 2013. And we've been together ever since. So it's been a good relationship. We're like family almost. I'd do anything for them, and I think they'd do anything for me.
Anytime I've been around the shop and seen him and his wife pull up, and just such good people. I grew up in around that area, so to know them and to know their kids, and Michael brings a whole lot to the team and helps you guys around the shop. But they also dabbed into the drag cars just a little bit. Hey.
Yeah, Michael raced a drag car. They've had wing sprint cars, ARCA cars. Bill's done a lot for all kinds of motorsports, and that's me and Bill are partners on this midget at this point. And that's kind of what I told him. I was getting to the point where I felt like my midget career wasn't really going anywhere. I'm 35. What am I doing? It's more or less a hobby for me. And I kind of explained to him that I wanted to continue if he wanted to continue. I hated to see us just get out of it and just, give it up. So that's how I ended up with Aiden Purdue in the car. And, Bill's a perfect partner on this stuff because, I think he enjoys obviously success, but also helping people, he's done a lot for me. In all aspects of life, just having somebody that's business successful to be with you. You're going to be like the people that you're around, I think.
So who else you've got? So you race with a lot with, of course, now Aiden Purdue is joined the team, and who else do you got in the stables beside? I mean, you've got your son Aiden in the junior sprint.
Yeah. So
Yeah, let's
yeah,
see who the other guy is.
yeah, there's Matt Veach. He's one of my best buddies. We kind of brought him in like a step kid when we first ended up with this shop. This is a McCree's shop, and he didn't really have a place to work on his car. And we're like, well, we got a lot of room, which that was before I kept dragging cars in here. I about got the place full, but yeah, we brought him in, and we've been best buddies ever since. He's really did a good job of taking care of me, and I try to take care of him the best I can. And we work together pretty good.
Rumor has it he started in the modifieds.
Yeah, he had a modified. I don't think he ever raced it though.
Oh, okay.
They
Yeah,
might have
Matt,
drug it around in the snow or something at one point in time.
Matt's definitely very talented in the micros, and actually, I was doing some rabbit holing yesterday on some different stuff on Dirty 30 and some different shows and on this on online, and found where he was running one time, I think in Chisholm's car, something like that. So it was pretty neat to reminisce some of that stuff. So maybe one of these days we can get Matt on here and do a little video and with Matt.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if that's, did you have any battles with Matt on the track? I mean, how's that work with the teammates? You know, you guys are teammates now. You're running micros. He's running micros. You guys get out there and you start.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've told him a million times. I said to win this race, I'd crash you, and he just laughs, you know. But we've never been in that situation. It seems like the nights I have good nights, he has a bad night, and the night that I have a bad night, he has a good night. So we've never really been in that situation. But I mean, I feel like he knows as well as I know. I mean, if it's for a win, I don't know. It kind of depends what kind of race it was for a win. If it's just a normal night at Wayne City, I mean, I'm not fighting my best buddy over that. I mean, that's getting old too. I mean, if 10 years ago, I'd have run over him and I'd have apologized later. But no, we don't really have any trouble.
Well, let's talk about some of your big wins. What are some of the biggest wins that Daniel Robinson has had, as you know, in either Power Eye or in the micro side? Or
yeah, one of the things that I'm proud of is I'm one of the only people that's won a Power Eye micro and midget race. I know Kyle Schutt, Andrew Felker have both done it. I'd say there's probably a couple more, but that's kind of cool. I've won a Badger midget race. I've won a Power Eye West midget race. The only thing I haven't won is a USAC race. Probably my only hope of doing that would be a Ducoin at the Shamrock. I'm still pretty good at Ducoin. That'd be a cool deal. I don't know. I won a bunch of micro races, but midget success is tough. I seem like I can always take a 18th place car and get 9th out of it, and not tear up people's equipment. But past that, to be like the super aggressive win midget races kind of guy, that's never really been me. And that's what I told Purdue when he started. I mean, he is that guy. I really believe in him. If I didn't believe in him, he wouldn't be driving my car. But I told him, I said, I'm not worried about tearing this thing up, which that's why it doesn't have a front axle in it right now.
He was running good before that happened, though.
Yeah, and that's my point. He's going to have a little learning curve, and he's going to have some talking tos, and there's going to be some older drivers come over and grab him by the neck and say, hey, listen. But, I mean, that's just part of learning and growing up. He's 16 years old, but I think he's going to be really good. I just hope that I can afford to give him the opportunity that he needs, to go somewhere else, to show what he can do, so he has maybe an opportunity to do something else.
Absolutely. Well, you lucked out in getting you a good one there. Hold on to before somebody picks them up. That's for sure. Hopefully you guys get some good starts and good wins.
Yeah.
And maybe pick up a win this year. Maybe, I mean, you guys set some goals for this year on some of the tracks you're going to run. One of the goals maybe just making the show or hit the top 10 or.
Yeah, well, I'm going to try to keep him on everything smaller than a quarter that I feel like we can be competitive at. Like I was really hoping to race at Belleville, and now they're not racing. That sucks. But we're going to do everything we can to go to Macon, any of the small track stuff that we can hit. I can afford to do that too. Motor rebuilds, I can get him twice as many races at Macon as I can like Granite City, somewhere where you're not letting off the gas, or when he does crash, it completely destroys the car over just a front axle, So I told him that last year. I was like, I'd like to run 10 or 12 races here local and get you some seat time and, do the best. Feel like I give him the best bang for the buck that I have, So that's kind of our goal. He's going to run his micro hard at all the big money races, so we kind of got to work around that too.
Well, Daniel, I think one of the big things I've seen with you and what you're doing for Aiden is, what you've done for the sport, all together. I mean, if you're not winning races, damn, you are definitely involved in a shit show somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, I love midget racing. I can't deny that. I got the needle in my arm and I can't get it out.
Well, even though, I mean, some of the biggest stories back in the day was some of the battles you had at the Leffler Memorial with Klossmeyer, the tangled up that you had at DuQuoin with Bell, different things like that. But then at the end of the day, you started a GoFundMe account for Brian Carver.
Yeah, and I seen just this week that he ended up getting a ride with Hayward Motorsports. So man, that really turned out cool. The thing about racing, it doesn't matter what it is, and I tell everybody that the worst enemy that you have in racing, if you were sitting at a bar and you were looking for somebody to talk to, that guy'd be the guy that you talk to because you have the most stuff in common. So at the end of the day, we're still all a big family, and I mean, like Klasmeyer, I talked to him, and Bell, I talked to him too. And it's just one of those deals. You're mad for 15 minutes, and then after it's over, you go back and you watch the video, and you're like, yeah, I probably did the same thing. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So last night you had an autograph signing. How'd that turn out?
Well, I've been hung over till about noon, but
I think I seen a picture. I think I got a Snapchat with a shirt off or something.
Yeah, well, it was Bennett's birthday party too, so I had to give him a lap dance.
Oh wow!
You understand.
Absolutely. Tell us. I know some of the questions that I've been called in on. People want to know about what happened with a pink flamingo. What's the story behind a pink flamingo?
Okay, so we were at the hustle and we rented a camper. We're like, we're not even going home. We're gonna go to the hustle. We're gonna have a good time. We're staying there. So Quinn Jones pulls his camper in. We pull ours beside him, and we create this party cove between us. So we're sitting there. It starts raining at like 2 hours before hot laps are supposed to start on hot lap day. And I mean, we've got the beers ready. We're just waiting for him to call off. The guy that works at track, Trey, pretty good friends with him at SIR. He comes down and he's like, time to crack the cold ones, boys. We're rained out. So then we have this flamingo. Well, where Marion really screwed up was they made a contest with some kind of gift certificate for the most entertaining crew. Well, I'm going to win that hands down.
Absolutely.
Time. I'm not overconfident about too many things, but I will beat all them stiff dicks in the pits at the most entertaining contest. So in the end, I get pulled through the pits on a pink flamingo through a mud hole. But I got the gift. I got the gift card. There's that.
Oh, well, then if that's what you set out for, and then I believe there was a year that you sponsored by Dr. Scholl's?
I tried. I even sent him emails, but Dr. Scholl's is tight with their marketing stuff. I had people at like Cardinals baseball games trying on my shoes. I mean, in like suits and ties and stuff. But I mean, I could sell Dr. Scholl's shoes. I guarantee it. So if you work there, just go ahead and give me a call. I've kind of switched to Hey Dudes when I'm at the bar, but I don't see a lot of marketing there.
Hey
They're doing
Dudes
their
is
own.
Definitely. Well, there's different classifications of a driver. There's those that watch what they say and be politically correct, and then there's people that's in the same category as Kevin Olson. I think that's where we put you at.
Yeah, well, I had a bunch of people this summer. What about this stupid big beard? Why do you look like you're on Duck Dynasty? What about your long hair? What are you trying to do? Well, I build fence for a living. So nobody, when I come to their house, gives a shit if I have a beard or long hair. I mean, they're like, oh, this guy's good at construction. Look at him. He looks like a caveman. And, I did spend a lot of time from 2003 to 2012 gelling my hair and clean shaved and talking right and doing right. And I mean, I'm just not in that situation anymore. The McCrearys don't care. Me and my wife have been fortunate enough to make enough money that if I lost all my rides and I still wanted to race, I could afford to race, so I'm not in a position where I'm kissing ass or begging for corporate sponsors, or I'm just not that in that situation anymore. So I'll look the way I want, talk the way I want. Sorry if you don't like me, and thanks if you do.
Well, I think that's big. I think that's something big though that's that the sports needs is definitely people like Daniel Robinson and you know, we haven't talked much about it, but you know, going back to your 2021 Chili Bowl, you give Sammy Swindell the bird. They name it the bird heard around the world. You go viral overnight. I mean, literally, I remember flying in the next day and seeing coming up to you and like thousands of friend requests on your Facebook. I mean, just went nuts.
Yeah, my wife called me and she said, "You're trending on Twitter." And I said, "That's good because normally I'm just drunk."
Yeah, you don't have a
But
Twitter account.
no, I don't. No, I've never done that. I don't know. I got too much other stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I always just try to be a pretty nice guy, and I've lived my whole life respecting Sammy for who he is. And I mean, that's the thing about him. He's never had to be anybody but who he was. And people say, well, if he did this or he did that, then he'd have done this. Well, but he didn't have to. And I mean, he's been a legend more or less. I mean, he's going to be in every sprint car Hall of Fame that there is to be in. So, like I said, I respect him. I was so stoked to be past him. Maybe I just lost my head for a second. I don't know, but either way, it turned out to be a funny decision, and it's got a bunch of you know, recognition, or at least people know who the hell I am now. And you know, I feel like the Carver deal was kind of a start for people realizing in the Purdue thing that, you know, you could think what you want about a person, but at the end of the day, you know, I think most people are just trying to do what's right by people. I don't know. I feel I'm like that real optimistic person. Like I always look for the best in people, and you know, I you know, and I see the post where he's disrespectful or whatever, and I didn't mean it like that in any way, shape, or form. And I think you know me good enough that you'd agree. You know, it was just all in fun.
Absolutely. I tell you what, we have had some fun, that's for sure. I think right there
Yeah.
sitting in your in the garage where, you know, at one time you had one of my cars over there and was running it, and man, what a shit show inside there.
Yeah,
I think we tested out the seats.
I think I
and
have that. I
oh
think I have that picture.
oh, that's back whenever I was clean shaved, huh?
Yeah, it's dirty, but there you are.
Oh, yep. Good time. Yeah, that's when I
Yeah.
would gel the hair and throw
Yeah.
the sunglasses on.
Oh, there's even clean shaven Daniel.
That is, see, that's what else you need. You need some those pro cards or whatever.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be for kids anymore though.
No. Yeah. So you've sold some shirts and you're working on some stuff for your son's car.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna completely let the cat out of the bag, but there's definitely gonna be a tribute to Sammy involved in the new car, and I think it'll be cool. I think it'll be neat.
Well, show us something else in there. Somebody says that you might be dabbling with a Silver Crown.
Yeah, so we got this Silver Crown mess that we're working on. I don't know. We got a long ways to go with that, but I just don't know enough about it. It's not as easy for me as the midgets and micros are, but we're gonna have to get to work on it because we really want to run the miles. I know Bill does the Springfield and DuQuoin deal, and you know, I've watched it my whole life, and we always sit in the grandstands and drink beer. And I told the boys a couple years ago, I'm like, hell, we might as well have one of these. We're all here. You know, why not? It's not that big a deal. You only race them a couple times a year, so.
Oh my gosh, I think I remember seeing you at a Silver Crown race. Didn't you get it? You had got a rear end or something? Some part of a car you had got, and I had weaseled my way up to the front row parking.
Oh yeah, you loaded it for us. Yeah.
Well, good times, good times, good times. Do you have anybody you want to throw out there that you race with or that makes everything for you?
Yeah, so I really gotta thank Troy Leonard on this deal that we got with his cars now. He owns Act Automotive in Florida, Illinois. So if you're close to there and you need your car worked on or you need a lawnmower, he does both of those. But you know, he's really helped me out just to be able to keep racing a little bit because I'm trying to help my kid race, and he realizes that. So he's offered to put me in his car, and you know, he pretty much takes care of everything. I get out of the car and I'm like, I don't know, it's a little loose, and he's like, all right, I'll fix it. And then I go work on my kid's car, or you know, hang out with him, and that's been a pretty cool relationship for me, you know, to be able to have that opportunity to still be racing at 30, almost 6 years old. So that's cool. And, you know, obviously the McCurrys and I'm just excited to race my boy and Aiden Purdue and see how that goes with this season, and help Matt out. We'll do it like a family again.
Absolutely. And for those of you who are be listening or watching this, if you guys come to Southern Illinois on Interstate 57, look at the what exit is it?
Yeah, it's Assessor Whittington exit.
Type in on your GPS the barn bar.
Yeah.
Go in there, check out some stuff from Daniel. That's him and his wife's. That's their race fund. It's been really busy. I know they got a lot of races, dirt races on the TVs going just about 24/7, don't you, Daniel?
Yeah, we've almost got Flo playing in there. We actually hung a new TV for the Chili Bowl this year. And yeah, we bought that bar 2 years ago, just kind of as an investment. I build fence and I'm self-employed, so I don't really have a 401k or anything. We got the opportunity to buy that, and it's made the payment on itself even through the whole COVID deal. So it's all worked out so far. Hopefully we can get it paid off in the next couple of years and kind of have something for me and her to make us money when I get too old to dig post holes, I guess.
Well, there you go. Hopefully, we draw some people in there to come by and to do that. There's one more thing that there's this new section that I'm going to maybe work on a little bit. You can be the first to test it out. I'm going to ask you just a few questions here real quick. What are your superstitions?
I used to be really superstitious, but I did dig a post hole and found a horseshoe, and it's sitting in the trailer. But as far as really being superstitious, I mean, you reap what you sow,
Favorite driver?
Probably Tony Stewart.
Good one.
Yeah, I mean, I never really had a favorite driver. I always just wanted to beat him, but I looked up to Tony. And at DuQuoin at the Silver Crown race one year when I was little, I have a helmet that was signed by a bunch of people, and he really took the time to talk to me, and he was just seemed like a really nice, genuine person. And as you see him race, I feel like he's always just been himself. He's never tried to be anybody that he's not.
And what is your favorite racing format? Do you like the Power I format or the USAC format?
Yeah, I like passing points if I'm watching. Those heat races, the Power I heat races to me are a little more exciting just because it's kind of a mixed bag of tricks. It's kind of like the Chili Bowl. I mean, you may have Donnie Schatz starting behind a guy that races dune buggies or, I mean, you don't know. If you have qualifying, you pretty much know the fast stuff's already in the front. So if I had, if I was Christopher Bell, I would like the qualifying format better because I know I'm going to qualify in the top 5 every time. And I'm going to just start up front. But I think as far as a fan point of view, I really kind of enjoy the pill draw myself.
Favorite number?
I better stick with 57. It's paid the bills for a long time. That's Bill. That's Bill McCreary's number, and also Bill Ecker's number. So it's weird. I got 2 Bills that I race for, and they're both 57s.
Well, it makes it easier whenever you go to selling shirts. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, Daniel, I'm not going to keep you any longer. I know you probably got some racing to do. I know you got a lot of work to do if you're going to be racing 4 classes at DuQuoin. But if you guys are out and about at the DuQuoin Midwest Nationals this week, stop by and see Daniel. He'll definitely sell you a shirt, sign you an autograph, invite you to his bar or something.
Yeah, absolutely. They're starting the races early, so we might be able to sneak to the bar after the races. We'll see.
We used to do that after the races when they got over in time.
Yeah,
but,
we've had some fun there.
It's some good times. Definitely. Ladies and gentlemen, Daniel Robinson. Thank you, Daniel, for joining us on episode 1.
Yeah, thanks, Garrett. Good luck with your podcast. I hope it all goes good. And if you ever need anything, give me a holler.
Absolutely.
See you, buddy.
Bye.